Hello everyone, welcome to English Grammar Made Simple. In this video, we will discuss contractions like I'd, you'd and he'd, sometimes confuse non-native speakers. The context determines whether these contractions mean I would or I had. In this video, we will discuss these contractions, meanings and how to interpret them in phrases. I'd can indicate either I would or I had. Here are a few more examples. We'd, we would or we had. You'd, you would or you had. She'd, she would or she had. It'd, it would or it had. They'd, they would or they had. Context typically tells us if he'd meaning he would or he had. If we are unsure, we must examine the grammatical form after the contraction D. The contraction D can be used to mean either would or had. To tell the difference, let's look at what comes next. D means would. Rule 1. Would plus infinitive. Would is followed by the bare infinitive. That means infinitive without to. For example, would be, would have, would like, etc. Please remember the fixed rule 2. Modal auxiliaries plus infinitive. Let's go to example. Would plus infinitive. I'd like some coffee. Contraction D means would. Would plus base form of the verb like. Another example. I'd buy a new car if I won the lottery. Contraction D means would. Would plus base form of the verb buy. We'd go hiking every weekend. Contraction D means would. Would plus infinitive form of the verb go. Let's go to rule number 2. Would plus perfect infinitive. Would can also be followed by the perfect infinitive have plus past participle. Would have been, would have done, etc. For example, we'd never have known. Contraction D means would. Would plus have plus past participle form known. Let's go to another example. She'd have been 80 today. Contraction D means would. Would plus have plus past participle form of the verb been. Contraction D means had. Auxiliary verb had is always followed by past participle. This is the third fixed rule of English studied in episode 13. Had been, had done, had gone, etc. For instance, I'd spoken English. Contraction D means had. Had plus past participle form spoken. They'd gone home. Contraction D means had. Had plus past participle gone. She'd been married 2 months. Contraction D means had. Had plus past participle been. In this sentence, married is adjective that describes the state of she. I'd just seen him. Contraction D means had. Had plus past participle form seen. By the time I arrived, he'd had lunch. Contraction D means had. In this sentence, the first had is the auxiliary verb and the second had is the past participle form of the verb have, which means eat. The next grammatical term associated with the contraction D is had better. Had better is a semi-modal auxiliary verb. It's a common phrase used to advise or warn someone about something they should do, implying potential negative consequences if they don't. The phrase had better is typically followed by the base form of the verb. For example, you had better study for the exam. She had better call him back. In these examples, study and call are the base forms of the verbs following had better. Examples: you'd better go home. Contraction D means had. Had better plus base form of the verb go. You'd better ask someone else because I am not sure. Contraction D means had. Had better plus base form of the verb ask. The next grammatical term associated with the contraction D is would rather. Would rather is a fantastic phrase for expressing your preference. For example, I'd rather live in Delhi than in London. Contraction D means would.